Hey guys, welcome to August. Welcome to Austere August. I'm going to be using this soap for the whole month. Vetyver, scent from Martin de Candre. I may just say Martin de Candre just to not sound pretentious. I did take high school French, but that doesn't mean that I can sound like a douchebag. All right, this one has not been used very much. As you can see, we're looking at maybe 2 or 3 millimeters down from the top lip. And I am using this soap for the entire month because I am so curious how much product I'll use per shave, and therefore how many shaves can I get out of this 200-gram tub of soap. I have weighed it. We're looking at 334 grams for what you're looking at right here. I take off the top when I weigh it. And so then we can do some subtraction at the end of the month and figure out how much soap we've used and some other math to then figure out how long this tub is going to last, because sometimes people have to pay $60 or $70 if you want to order a tub from France, and you wonder, is it worth it? It's a great lather. It's another reason why I picked it. I'm going to enjoy using the lather the whole month, and it really could end up to be a budget soap if I end up to be able to use this tub for 3 years straight. Then it will become a budget soap for sure. So I'm curious about that. I'm confident this amount is going to last longer than a year. So we'll see. People think of it, it is expensive to obtain in the beginning, but maybe when you do the math, it turns out to be okay. I am going to be using the Piccolo handle. This is the special edition of the Fatip Piccolo. It also comes with the open comb base plate in gold, as well as the Testina Gentile solid bar base plate, which I'm not going to be using because the open comb works better with, you'll recognize him from June, the Nacet. We've got 302 uses on him already, and we're going to be putting 31 more through the course of August, assuming he lasts that long, and I'm pretty sure he will. I'll show you the brush before I load up the razor. We'll be using this Semogue Owners Club with a Taj handle. It is a boar brush that's been soaking for a nice long time in this water. My new camera, my new phone, does not focus very well when I hold products up to the screen. Sorry about that. It has 10 uses on it already, so one of the purposes of using it for this month was to put 31 uses on it, and he'll be even nicer at the end of the month than he is right now. Tuscany is the aftershave that I'll be using this month. It's from Stirling. And here's what it looks like. It is a discontinued product, I believe, from Stirling. And much to my dismay, I started liking that as a balm. After my shaves, I am a night shaver, and it's a nice, smooth scent that I really enjoyed having at the end of the day. And so I did go ahead and buy the splash because it is still available right now, and I believe it's on sale since they're discontinuing the scent. The soap is gone. The balm is gone. I did buy some bath soap as well. So I do have some products from Tuscany that will probably last me a long time anyway. So I think I'm good to go. But I thought it would be a nice scent to enjoy during the course of the month. I wonder if it'll go with the Vetyver. Tuscany does have the scents of Tuscan cypress, bergamot, violet, and an array of spices. When I first tried it, I didn't know about the write-up. I didn't know about the scent notes. What jumped out to me from the balm was almost like a wild cherry flavor, and I'm a big fan of that. Just had a wild cherry slushy from the local snow cone place yesterday, in fact. Let's load up the blade into the razor. So here are all the dots for the Nacet. My phone alignment is also not quite right because I don't have a protective cover on the phone, and so it's tilted back more than it normally is, and so things are a little bit different for me here. Yeah, see, look at that. Now, can I get it to focus on the blade? No, I don't reckon it is. Okay. Well, we've got 3 dots there, which I've had for a long time now with the Nacet. And I don't know if you can tell or not, there is a bend in the blade on one of the corners. Yeah, right here. Oh yeah, you can see the glinting there. I dropped the blade on use number 225 or near there, and it put a bend in it. I bent it back a little bit, enough to where I can get reasonably comfortable shaves out of it. So here's 303. Have to show you things and hold them a lot higher than I'm used to. With the Fatip, you get a quality razor that's brass at the core, and so it will last multiple lifetimes. However, the main gripe about the Fatips are the alignment issues that some of them seem to have. Now, what I did just now, just drop it in, drop in the base plate, is a great way to, about 50% of the time, and it worked exactly right this time, that will be all you need for a properly aligned blade. But sometimes you'll need to fiddle with it if it doesn't land quite right. There's some people who have no alignment issues at all. So they and in the past they have had some plating issues, maybe with the base plates or something like that. So, but to me, for $28, it's almost worth the risk. All right, blade's loaded up. Get my face wet. I am looking at a 1.5 day growth. The Nacet is not going to like that. Blades that you are marathoning or hypermiling usually prefer 1 day growth instead of multiple. All right, so we've got a completely dry puck of soap here. That's something I'll be dealing with as well. But if I use it every day, then it'll maintain a little bit of moisture from day to day. And that's something that Williams and other soaps like Mitchell's Wool Fat will benefit from. If you, both of those soaps, you can learn technique to pull them out every month and use them if you want. But man, they excel and shine a lot more if you use them every day because they retain some of that moisture and are much easier to load on soap onto your brush. Let's do a 40-second load. This is an unsoaked puck of soap. I'm going to shake most of the water out of the brush. And then here we go. What did I say? 30 seconds. I'm starting at a 45 mark. It's a lot of moisture is in the brush, and so it's getting bubbly and overflowing and stuff. Let's just try a 30-second load. So that's 15 more seconds-ish. Look at what's going on. Medium pressure. One more second, and there. Look at all. How about that? You can try and experiment with gathering up some of that airy stuff and putting that in your bowl like I just did. I'm going to wash off the sides of the container. We don't want soap buildup to build up in the threads of the jar. Keep a good hold on it when you do that because sometimes it's slippery. All right. This will be a fun month. They've got some other scents, but I like rose. That's not for me. All right, we can go ahead and start. Their original scent I almost bought, and I think I looked at the description. Somebody had it on a really good sale for a used tub, you know. I looked at the description, and then it had something that I don't like at all, like sage or something like that. This is also a soap that appears on many lists of overrated soaps because it's so expensive, I think. I think it could be removed from many of those lists if people realize what a good value it is, as I'm just so confident I'm going to find out. Now, it pretty much immediately has kind of solidified a little bit and given me a nice puffy lather, and so I can jump right into using my syringe as my preferred method. Why do I use a syringe? I need to do a little separate quick video about why I do. It's so easy to add water using the syringe. It's also then, of course, easy to know how much water that you use per shave because of the syringe. And it's easy to add water in increments of a teaspoon at a time or just a few drops at a time. And I often find that I need both of those types of amounts to be added. And if I track how much I use with the syringe, then I can tell you guys. And then if you're having really huge trouble with your lather, just not really able to dial it in, now you've got a measured amount that you can use kind of as a baseline to maybe come close to finding a good lather. Because after all, there's a whole lot of guys out there who use relative terms as they're showing you how they load. Just load till it looks right, load till it looks creamy, you know, that sort of thing. And so for some people that might be good enough, but for some new shavers, they don't have a frame of reference. They don't know. Now we have added 3 teaspoons of water. It's looking pretty good. I'll really be able to dial up MDC probably after the first week. There are some soaps that get puffy really quickly, air up, have kind of a higher structure to them. There are some that stay low and kind of gluey and slimy. Nothing wrong with either one, because they both usually, work pretty well. Sometimes the low slimy one is the kind that have butters and soap, butters and oils and things like that added to them for skin nourishing features during your shave. Many of the ones that puff up kind of quickly, sometimes, as you can see, man, that's a good looking lather, are ones that you might need to run a little drier than usual, than my usual. I like to have it just kind of long peaks and stretching and all elastic. See, this is much. Oh, that's a little better. I think I need to add more. What we're going to do is use my normal category criteria of taking this lather to a nice elastic state, and we'll see if that works with this soap. Sometimes with those bubbly airy soaps, it makes them too thinned out and I don't get a good shave, and I just have to make a note, run it a little drier than I usually do. Another reason to measure is that if I know that this certain soap takes 6 teaspoons of water, then I can add water maybe more quickly. Get there a little sooner instead of being, the word is not tedious, tentative with my water adding. Well, it looks like a 30-second load, even on a dry puck, produces plenty of lather. Let's just feel of it. It's slick. It's got a light soapy type of slickness. It's got pretty nice contact slickness there. I'm really happy with that. I'll also be able to fine tune exactly how much loading I need to do. Obviously 30 seconds was too much. Let's add just a little bit more water. So that's 5 teaspoons. I said a little bit, but a teaspoon is not really a little bit. It can, when you're close to having the right lather, a whole teaspoon could throw things too far, but I just felt like it today. This is a 3D printed bowl that I have used many times on my channel. You can get online and download those plans if you want to print your own. The link is in the description of the video. That Vetyver scent is pretty strong, coming up to me from the bowl here. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. Ah, see, that's that kind of elasticity there is. Now look, he's still supporting himself pretty easy. I usually take a soap farther than that. I like to have it kind of collapse, but I don't. This soap might be different. Let's just shave with what we have here today. Holy cow, I've got a lot of lather. All right, water on my face. So that's what I use for pre-shave. It's just some water. Softens the whiskers. Some guys who take blades long ways insist that prep is key, but for me it's just water. So for me it does not really seem to be key. Oh, get the water out of the goatee. Could screw up my ratio. So the Semogue Owners Club uses a special blend of boars that they have, a special grade of boar bristles. It's one of their more expensive brushes, and I think rightly so. I think it deserves the cost. If you want to try out something that's really similar but not as expensive, look at the 2000. The handle is not quite as nice and ergonomic and all those things, but the feel and density and knot size are very similar. This could use more water. I'm glad I took a chance and added that extra teaspoon. It was not excessive, as it turns out. So this is a wonderful creamy lather that feels nice on the face. At least with this brush it does. Let's add some more water. I don't want it to trickle out of the handle, so I point the brush downwards right after I add the water. And we're about to add a whole nother teaspoon here. And that, I think, was pretty warranted. The lather is getting better. I think I'll need to maybe add another teaspoon to the bowl because it is, more concentrated. One nice thing that's this kind of tweaking does to your face is you get more lather time exposed to your whiskers and on your softening your skin, softening the beard, and that's good. Cleaning. I don't do a face wash usually prior to my shave, and so this is a good way to clean those oils away and all that. That's a great lather. I don't think this is an underrated soap at all. I think it's excellent. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and add another teaspoon to the bowl there. So we're looking at 7 used in total. And here we go. 303 uses. Yes, it is kind of crazy. Tugging for sure, but it's not overly uncomfortable. You kind of get used to it a little bit. Well, I'm also getting tugging because it's a 1.5 day, almost 2 day growth. It would be more comfortable if it was a normal shave. And so I am staying with the grain since the beard is kind of long. Now this open comb here is not, even with a fresh blade, for me, not a very aggressive razor. And I am definitely not one of of super tough skin, I usually am ordering the mild versions of the, anytime I get a razor, I'm ordering the mild gaps in it for sure. Because I like comfort more than closeness. But most of the time with good technique, I'm rewarded with closeness as well. There we go. Let us rinse. Man, I'm going to stop this video sometime because my pause button is in a different location with this phone. So I added during the rinse break, I had already added the 1 teaspoon of water. And so this is a very hydrated lather that looks more like what I often go for. The rinsing was not all that luxurious. It just rinsed away easily, quickly, and cleanly. And but it could be because a couple of reasons. The oils in my skin, which are significant, could have kind of killed the luxury feel because the soap was busy dispelling those oils and dealing with them. It also could be because this soap may just work better with a thicker kind of configuration. And that may be thicker than my own. You know, sometimes you have to roll with it like that. All right. So now, you know what I want to do? Because I felt a good bit of stubble after that first pass, I'm going to do a repeat of pass number 1 and knock down the stubble even more. And most of the time, guys, with shaving like this, you don't want to focus on cutting down all the hairs in one shot. Now, you know, if you want to do that, but in general, that's the advice if you're a new shaver. Focus on easy, simple reduction in your beard. And a light touch. That's one of the big secrets. Light touch. All right, let's see how it feels. See how my face feels now with the rinse. So this is a soap base that rinses quickly, really quickly. Don't really get that soft, nourishing feeling that you have with some of these newer soaps. But you know what? I don't mind, because I want a soap to be a soap. And maybe that's why this guy is going to last so long, because he isn't using any of his volume for oils and butters and things like that. Folks with dry skin may consider this a very drying soap. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I do have reports from a friend of mine who has dry skin that he definitely gets better results when he shaves with a soap that has moisturizers built in, like a lot of these newer bases do. And that's even when he uses a good quality balm afterwards. So for some people with dry skin, just using a balm afterwards may not quite be enough to help you out with your skin issues. Use this good nourishing soap as well. All right, there we go. The second rinse didn't really, feel any more luxurious. So this may be a performance lather. The razor's gliding very nicely. I seem to be well protected. Most important. And I also do record the number of shaves I get, or the lather passes is what I meant to say. Because after all, if I inadvertently mix it too thick, then the number of passes for the month is more important value than how many shaves I got. Because I could take the passes and say, well, let's divide that out by 3 or 4. And then we'll know how many, how many properly dialed in shaves he was able to get. Yeah, so this is definitely a nice performance lather. I'm glad it's not falling apart. The razor's not skipping. That's sometimes something that happens. Yeah, I've got good glide here. Skipping is sometimes something that happens when your lather is a little too wet. Man, I need a haircut. So this is the pattern that I use for my third pass, even though this is the fourth, you know, because I decided to do a kind of an extra first pass. It resembles the pass I did just before, except right here in this trouble spot, I switch directions and I do a cross grain approach like this. Instead of from here this way, I switch and go from here this way. That seems to be something that helps this particular problem area for me. It took me a while to figure this out. Now see this residual soap that I have on my face? Wonderful feeling of slickness here, and the good soaps are going to give you that slick feeling even if you mix them up too wet. And this is a good soap, obviously. It's stood the test of time. Yeah, it feels great. And I just have almost no soap on my face. Okay, so that's 4 passes, and we'll do a final rinse and check out the results. All right, so the quality right here, I'd like to improve it a little bit, so let's see if we can help that with a touch-up pass. I just saw some length in too many hairs. Now, most jobs would probably be fine with it. You know, nobody would notice anything. But let's just see what we can do. There are some slant type techniques that you can do, and now I'm really happy with the feeling I'm getting right now. I'm not feeling like it's too tender or something like that. I don't feel like I'm going to be walking away with some, you know, razor burn, so that's good. All right, so we'll just let that be it, because one of my criteria about this blade is it's not like I am torturing myself to see how long I can stand it. It is, as long as it's reasonably comfortable, as long as it's not giving me an unreasonable amount of tugging, and as long as it's giving me a reasonable shave. So I could still potentially keep using it if comfort-wise if I wanted to, but I would stop if the shaves, if I never found, I wasn't able to find the right way to get a good quality shave in a reasonable number of passes. Like if 4 passes, I think that's okay. Some people do 4 passes. If it starts to take me 5 passes, I might start thinking about maybe that being too much. All right, so the little partial rinse here. I don't use alum because I usually just don't need it, and I don't need the diagnostic properties because often my cold water rinses will tell me if I've kind of tenderized an area of my skin, but also, of course, if you've got an alcohol-based splash, it will do it too. Now this does have a little bit of skin goodies in there. It's got some witch hazel, aloe. There we go. Yeah, witch hazel and aloe are in there. Sometimes Stirling is a little tough for my skin. I don't have iron skin like some guys out there. And so sometimes if I put this on right after a shave, it can actually generate some irritation and redness. However, with this old smooth blade, I got a feeling it should be okay. And I feel pretty much no stinging, and that's one of the benefits of having a nice smooth blade, right? All right. So very good, very good. Now, even in the cases where I've had a very close shave and maybe the Stirling, the strength of that alcohol is going to be too much for me, I can just wait an hour and my skin will have recovered from the shave enough to where this doesn't bother me. You could also choose to put a balm on before the splash. Or maybe a higher witch hazel aloe toner, like maybe Thayer's. that can also help to kind of soften the harshness of the alcohol. So yeah, 7 teaspoons of water, 30 seconds of loading. I did 4.5 passes. And then how many passes do we have left here in the bowl? Probably 3. I'll bet I could get 3 passes out of that. Pretty good bit of lather. So it's nice to know that even if you overwater, if you overhydrate your MDC, it's a terrific lather. You're not going to get a creamy, luxurious feel to it, but it will perform on your face. It will feel good on your face. And it will give a nice, slick, protective layer. Now, how does it feel in the hands afterwards? Let's check that out. So this, part of it came from the brush, part of it came from the bowl. Looks really nice. As you can see, it's pretty well hydrated. How's the slickness? It's a very thin slickness by now since I added more and more water. And so it's almost like a watery, you know, thin, soapy kind of slickness. So it will take a high hydration consistency if that's what you want to do. Pretty cool. And it does rinse very quickly and cleanly. So maybe for a morning speed shaver, it might be just the ticket. So, since we know we're going to be using this setup tomorrow, one of the things that I can enjoy knowing is that tomorrow I can try maybe a thicker lather, not push quite so much water into it. All right, I'm going to put up my gear. I've already put on my aftershave. So how is the Tuscany smelling? Interesting. I don't quite know if it's a match between the Tuscany and the Vetyver. I don't quite know if it's a good progression yet, but we'll roll with it. Now, I believe I'll be traveling today, and so I don't want to leave the blade in the razor. If I know I'm going to use the same blade razor combo the next day, then what I'll do is loosen it with this 3-piece style, loosen it some to where some water can just easily flow between the blade and the heads, and give it a good rinsing, give it a good shake, and then just put it safely aside away from kids. And I don't take it out, put it back in the envelope, you know, that sort of thing. You can just leave it in the razor. These stainless steel blades that we've got now, that's the nice thing you can do with those. The old kind of carbon blades you would have to take a little bit more care with. So here we go. After a towel stropping and a good shake out, we are looking at the bloom, and already this guy, after just 10 uses. Now I did do a slight break-in accelerator with this brush, just maybe a 1 or 2 hour soak before each use in general. Sometimes not, but that was, you know, all fairness. I'm not just simply using it. I am soaking it for a little bit longer before each use to help those tips split, to help it spread and splay. And there we go. Very cool. I like the handle shape a lot. It's easy to hold on during the shave, even when things get soapy. This particular knot and the length that they gave it in terms of loft there is renowned for a big bloom, a big splay. And so right here where you can see these guys come out like this, I've seen many pictures of owners clubs where the whole fan came out to this point. I mean, not, you know, it was evenly distributed, but it was quite a big splay. As you can see, I have a goatee, and so I don't need a lot of open real estate. And so one of the options that I have is putting an O-ring down here at the base of the knot to kind of restrict things just a little bit, just in case I find that big splay to be undesirable. So we'll watch this guy grow during the course of the month. Just a towel stropping. So now we don't have any standing water in it. So it doesn't matter if I rest it on its base to let it dry or if I have a hanging rack. That does not change the dry time at all. Many newbies think that racks are required or stands are required, and they are not. So what did we learn about MDC today? We learned that 30 seconds is too much load time. Now at the end of a 4-pass shave, 4.5 pass shave, I didn't really have tons of lather left. And I did have 3 passes left, which is extra. So maybe I'll slowly back down my load time instead of jumping quickly down to 15 seconds. I'll just, we'll do it with 25 because I also plan on next time reducing the water as well to have it to see what we can do about obtaining a creamy mix to see how possible and easily achievable that is with this soap as well. Very encouraged. Continue to love this soap. It's a, when you thin it out with water, it's a quick rinsing soap. Feels good on your face, but some people might consider it drying. I don't think I will because of my naturally oily skin. But I think your average person would not have a problem with the alleged drying nature of it if you followed up with a balm, if you feel like it's maybe a little drying. However, a person with severely dry skin, if it ends up to be a drying soap, then that might be one to stay away from. But your average person could just put on a balm afterwards and be fine. Very good. I've pretty much got everything cleaned up. So we learned about the load time there. We also learned that it performs well if you push a little bit, maybe a little bit too much water into it. So there's a couple of nice things to know, and maybe we'll discover more as the month goes on. All right, guys. Well, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope this has been a good video for you, and I hope that you find interesting things this month as we learn about MDC and as we learn about Fatips and as we see how far this Nacet can go. All right, guys, take care and good day. Hey guys, a little bit of an addendum to the shave. I am going to put on the Balm for Soap Commander. After the shave, I noticed that the Vetyver scent that was on the soap totally overpowered the Tuscany Balm, which is a very even-keeled type of scent. And so then I realized that I would waste that aftershave. And since it's been discontinued and I'm not likely to get any more, I didn't want that to be for nothing. And so I am instead, my post-shave for this is going to be the Integrity Post-Shave Balm, which is a nice high-quality balm from Soap Commander. And this is unscented, which is what Integrity is. But this is a tweak of, this is their only, as if, at least when I found out about it, this is their only menthol-free balm, and that is what I require. Their normal menthol amount is a little bit too much for me, so I'm going to use this as my post-shave for the month of August, because that Vetyver is just gonna shine through, I think. So I got about a dime-sized amount. It does have a very mild scent, and it's not a scent that it's trying to have. I think it's just the nature of the base, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna bother anybody. It will, I might have put a little bit too much, a dime-sized amount might have been a little too much. However, this will absorb into my skin without a problem in the next several minutes and be just fine. So there we go. That's the true and proper ending to today's shave. Thanks.